Officially begun in November of 2012, a local concert series is Central Florida's premier chamber music series and seeks to mold new audiences for classical chamber music by providing access to the highest level of music making possible by internationally prominent artists of color. They have an event coming up that is a must-see, and all the details are up next right here on Polk Place. Welcome to Polk Place. I'm your host, Brian Lacey, and joining me in studio is a man that needs no introduction, but in case you've never met him, he's definitely a dude that you're going to dig. Derek Manchin, as his bio once said, I fancy myself as a trash-talking...
so on, right? Just fill in the colorful adjectives, right?
You know, the coolest thing, I've known you for some years, and I got a chance to go out and see last year's performance at Polk State.
Right.
I was shooting for one of our shows out and about. You were our featured artist. The first time we ever did anything musical.
It was an honor, man. It was an honor.
And that was really, really, really cool. First time I had ever taken it in live, and wow.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's an honor to be here always, Brian.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So for those that don't know, you talk to me a little bit about Derek Manchin. Who is Derek Manchin?
Wow. It's funny you ask that.
I know you.
Yeah.
Hey, don't pull any
Right,
punches.
don't pull any fast. So, I mean, there's a lot to me. If I weren't me, I would reel at anyone else telling me all the stuff they did as quote-unquote Derek Manchin. But look, man, I've been a professor at our local school, Polk State College, for like 16 years. This month, it's 16 years. I am a PhD candidate in philosophy and religion, where I do work on East-West dialogue and a whole bunch of spiritual and mystical stuff. And I'm a multi-instrumentalist, which is how I more feel myself. When I wake up in the morning, that's who I feel like consistently day after day. And I'm a producer, and so as you know, but I dropped an album well now into a year ago.
Wait a minute. Where's it at on Amazon?
Yeah, it went to #2 on Amazon, right? I brag about it having been above John Legend and Beyonce for a little minute. And I was like, I woke up one morning, I was like, I started stuttering. I'm like, that me? What does this
Did
mean?
you screenshot that, right?
Of course, like 100 freaking times. You kidding me? Of course I screenshot it. but yeah, so I'm a multi-instrumentalist. And I think that probably gets, I'm a visual artist and a writer and all of that, but basically I'm a creative.
You forgot my favorite.
What's that?
When you tell the crowd, I'm also a singer.
Oh, yeah.
but you say that without moving your You're like the ventriloquist
I sing too. Because every time I think about getting out on stage and actually, like next week, I'm like, should I sing? I'm like, yeah, nah, you know. And I've always sung. Everyone in my family sings. I've always done what I do. You know, Brian, I figured out recently, at 53, going on 54 next month, I look at my drawings that I did, and I really am thankful to my parents. And I don't say this with any braggadocious vibe at all, but I was a musical prodigy, you know, but my parents thankfully never told me that, so I didn't grow up with this big head. You know, the arrogance you see is just because I'm a jerk. That's organic. It has nothing to do with being arrogant. I'm just a horrible guy. But anyway, yeah, man, I was a musical prodigy, which only meant music flowed out of me. I became a cellist later, and being a cellist is kind of a challenge. It's difficult to play, but now what I'm doing is recognizing what I was always meant to be and just letting music flow through it. If I wake up in the morning, I want to do a video and I'm singing all the parts, great. If I'm playing keyboard, whatever, you see what I'm saying? I'm able to do music through whatever instrument or whatever hardware or software I need to do it through.
And as a sidebar to that story, your mother, in her late 80s?
She's getting ready to be 90 in December.
Yeah, so And you're still as close as the day you were born with her, man.
Yes,
I
sir.
found that amazing.
Yes, sir.
And then, of course, I follow you on Facebook,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of mom in there.
There's a lot. Yeah. She's great. She's softer. She's more quiet, but she's as hilarious as ever.
And a huge supporter of yours.
Huge supporter, and also tells me when stuff is not hitting. I remember I was getting ready to fly to New York 2 weeks ago, and I had on this coat and some shorts and some flip flops.
Were you watching the NBA recently?
But I'm like, okay, it's going to be cool on the plane. It's going to be kind of hot when I get there. And she, as I walked out, she goes, "You look like the devil. You've got on 3 different outfits and didn't finish any of them." And no matter how I appear to the world, Derek is kind of cool. My mom thinks I'm just a jackass, and I never forget that. So I take myself not seriously at all, because I remember her take on me, which is the most important.
I want to talk a little bit about how you bring these thoughts into music. There's just a freewheeling, you know what I mean? It's the music that's the power for you and the guys you play with. Talk to me a little bit about what this series means.
Yes, so the series has become a vehicle, as you say, for highlighting internationally prominent musicians of color, so that young brothers and sisters that look like me can see themselves in role models. When I was coming up playing cello, I didn't know of any black cellists. I knew one black violist when I was probably 14. And so I had to make my persona in spite of all these people I saw that were successful at the cello that weren't my color. So it's important to me that I do my work in inclusion and representation. But the music, I remember I had a patron out in Houston that, I never forgot this. He said that my music was salubrious, meaning salt, meaning it's healing. Music's healing. So when you get people that really love music and they love the craft and they play a composer that also loved it, there's love that wafts out to the audience, and therefore there's love that wafts back from the audience back to the performers. So there's this cycle of warmth and love and giving that you just can't beat. And lots of people can't put words to it, but that's what happens in great concerts. When people are like, they have tears streaming down their eyes, they take their lighters and they wave them back and forth, that's love they're feeling. And I'm very well aware of that. So it's behind the scenes, I'm very, very careful with who I hire. I hire people who, whether they know it or not, are embodying that same principle that you just asked me about. And so when we collectively get together, there's a huge aura, no doubt. I mean, I don't know I'm up there, but I would imagine there'd have to be, because we all are sharing the same thing. So this cat I'm bringing next week, Derek Reeves, is like one of the most talented people I've ever met and ever worked with. And he can lay down incredible classical music on the violin or viola, and he could turn right around to do free jazz, or he can play anything. He can, legitimately, like he's a jazzer like no other, and then can play a Bach partita like no other. It's really phenomenal. We're gonna have a great time. We got the famous drummer Marty Morell.
Yeah, hey, when you told me who he was, you know me, man. I was like,
you looked him
I
up.
broke out the phone. I'm, wow, this guy's legit. And then when I went home, I looked on the big screen on the computer. I was like, wow,
he's the man.
His list is, wow, long.
I never forget when I'm on stage with Marty Morell that I'm on stage with Marty Morell. I mean, a lot of young cats might not realize who this guy. I'm like, that's Marty Morell. Let's pronounce the name right, number one, and let's give it a guy. Yeah, I mean, I just never forget. We have fun and we vibe, but I look over, I'm like, I am on stage playing charge with this cat, man. How fortunate am I that happened? And years ago I hit with a guy named Ed Vitale, who's passed on now, I'm quite sure. And he had played, he's 85 when I worked with him. He'd worked with Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I've been a bass player for many years, but that's how I kind of learned how to shape phrases and take, meaningful solos and stuff. I've been fortunate to spend time with some important cats in the different industries, and just learn directly from it. And that's how it's always done. And if we skip arenas here, that's how it's also done in like the mystical realm or the Hindu realm, where you have a guru and an apprentice, and they sort of impart wisdom upon you, not by saying anything, just by being in their presence. Yeah. Same thing in music, man. Same thing.
Who else is going to be on stage with you?
LaRue Nicholson, who is an amazing virtuoso guitarist that teaches at USF right now, does a lot of great stuff, just an incredible player. And there's, so that's going to be the four of us. Derek Reeves is flying in from Indiana, right? Marty Morrell, who we can call our neighbor. He lives in Lakeland, man.
Yeah.
He lives in Lakeland now. And LaRue Nicholson from Tampa and me. And I'm going to, I think Derek and I are going to be playing some Bach inventions to start with, and he's going to light us up with something. I don't even know what solo piece he's doing. We're all going to come together and do a jazz set. We're just going to have a great time.
Who was the guy you played with last time?
Cremaine Booker, that cello guy.
Talented, man. And then you played with him recently.
Yeah, we were up in New York. We were part of a great festival called the Gateways Music Festival, all African-American festival, where we celebrate African-American composers. And yeah, it was a big, wonderful week. Got refreshed, got my chakras opened, all that. And he was there. He did a great radio interview. He's played with a great ensemble, and we played in the orchestra together. It was just a great time. A lot of my buddies were there that you'll see in and out of the series from year to year. Yeah.
And if you're at home and you have Facebook, Derek Mention, look him up, friend him, because it's just absolutely talented. And his posts musically are incredible. And some of the things that you post are very
they're out there, aren't they?
Yeah.
Look,
Here's what I learned, man. You're entertaining, and I'm never, ever, ever gonna play Scrabble with you.
Man, right now, the 21st century is a wonderful time to be alive. GIFs and memes are at peak level. They're are crucially hilarious, aren't they? Like, I do know why, but the youth are exercising their demons through the memes, but they're hilarious, man.
Well, Facebook allows you, and social media allows you to do something that musicians of old weren't allowed to do: self-promote, become your own.
That's right.
Become your own person within the industry.
That's right.
And I guarantee you that the people that follow you put you at that number 2 position. You know what I mean?
No doubt. I didn't do any marketing behind that album. I recorded it. I got some hype going on social media, and then I released it. And within, I think, 2.5 weeks, man, I released it in November. By December, into later December, it was at number 2. It had been climbing. I was happy it was at number 100.
Yeah.
There are hundreds of thousands of releases out there. It never has to climb above 500,000. When it began to be at 120 I was like, I'm happy. And then it got to number 10. I was like, okay, cool. I'm definitely happy. And man, when I woke up, it was number 2. I didn't know what to do. It was amazing. It was amazing.
And another thing that you've got to attribute a little bit of success to is I remember you telling the story. At one time, you were contemplating leaving Polk State and just doing the music thing. They're like, no, man, we'll stand behind you. We'll let you do what you want to do, and kind of giving you the facility and the venue. Talk to me a little bit about the support you're getting from Polk State.
Polk State is wonderful. I'm going to be honest with you. When I came from Houston, and it was I'm a phoenix, right? So every 10 years or so, I become a new Derek. As long as I last another 10 years beyond the last flight.
Hey, that would explain the 3 choices in clothes that Mama
You
would.
get what I'm saying? Right? So I came home and I'm like, Polk County still feels pokey. It's not, it's not exactly LA. It's not New York. And while I was having this dialogue with myself, Polk State reached out and said, hey, do you want to come conduct our chamber orchestra? And that was challenging because there was a bunch of kids that weren't music majors. So they never practiced. So yeah, I did that. And then all of a sudden they threw me 3 humanities classes. And they're like, do you want to stay? I'm like, no, I want to keep touring. They're like, man, come and get this check. Derek, we know you're talented. We know you can teach. And man, that was 2003 or late 2003. And I've been there ever since. And then after a while, I said, okay. And I can talk freely about this. And I'm like, if I can't travel as much as I used to, why don't I bring the mountains to Muhammad? Why don't I just invert the whole thing and make what I do, go out and do, happen right here? And I did, and I invented the series. I invented a philosophy club. I did a whole bunch of different things. And so that when I drive up to Polk State, I sort of can disappear into my own little quadrant of Polk State where it's been mentionized, right? Polk State does that for all of us. Anyone who wants to become entrepreneurial that has any ideas, Polk State will stand behind you. They'll fund you at the front end. If it falls on its face, they won't after that. But you can come up with any idea as long as it has a prospectus and it makes sense. Hey, they'll help you out.
So Derek, let's talk a little bit about, we've got the concert coming up on the 7th.
Yes.
At Polk State
Yes.
College. School starting back up. Tell me about that and other things in the works and how folks can find out more about you.
Right, so September 7th at 7, Saturday night, come out to the Polk State Lakeland campus LTB building. It's closest to 98. Suggested donations $5. If you have no money, come and, you know, like Credence says, bring a nickel, tap your feet. I've got to get that in
I
there.
know. I saw that. I saw it.
But anyway,
And like this, man, AFRTS and let's see, Omaha and
Right.
Des Moines. Hey, dude, man, I played that song a lot of different
You know
places.
what I'm saying?
And the minute I saw that, I was like, man, he boosted that.
You better believe it. So come out on Saturday, enjoy that. That's the kickoff to our 8th anniversary season. We'll have another concert October 12th with I will be with Holly Scoggins, the painter. We're going to be doing something called Merkaba, which, interestingly enough, I'm glad you asked me the questions you did. It talks about actually some Judaic mystical visions of the wheel within a wheel. We'll get there. And then October 27th, we're bringing down a wonderful soprano, Luisa Maria Hernandez, and we're going to have her do some wonderful Caribbean and Latin music. And our season's just going to wind on, and it's going to be some wonderful stuff we do, a lot of variety. And then you can find out more about Voices of the People on Facebook, Voices of the People, a chamber music series. And if you want to find out more about what I'm up to, there's DerekMention.com, DerekMenchan. I am working on a second album. We're chasing down distribution for this first one. It's sitting at a record label in Cali right now. There's a lot of stuff going on with it. But I've hooked up with a new set of artists for my second album. It's going to be exciting. Rather ridiculous, you know, it's because it's me. It's got to be that, but it's fun. I'm going to be starting recording that in about a week and a half. I've got calls to go out to Houston. My engineer's out in Houston. My Hammond B3 player is in New Orleans, so I get to travel a little bit for this.
Oh, my.
Some fun.
Yeah.
But it won't be out for like a year or more. I have to get distribution for the first one. But yeah, man, a lot of good stuff. Come out to see Voices of the People. I'll be doing some interesting lectures at Polk State. So, you know, every now and then check out the Polk State website to see what I and my colleagues are up to. And it's going to be a really exciting and fun year.
You know what they say, time flies when you're having fun?
It does.
Yeah, wow, we're out of time.
I know, man. It's been great. It's been great, as it always is, man.
Listen, man, come back and see me soon.
Anytime. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, man. Voices of the People invite you to check out Chamber Music Series D Squared Season 8. Time keeps slipping. It all happens Saturday, September 7th at Polk State College in Lakeland in the LTB building atrium. The opening bash starts with Derek Reeves on violin, Derek Mention on cello and bass, Marty Morrell on drums, and LaRue Nicholson on guitar. In addition to traditional works from the chamber music genre, they also will incorporate music which gladly strays from the beaten path. Now, if you need more information on the event, check them out on Facebook under Voices of the People, a chamber music series, or give them a call, 863-651-2849.